So, time to visit the Ascalon Club.
Give me your... Steady, boys! Filthy people!
It's locked, all right.
Recognize him?
No. This one ain't on our list.
Well, that's one less anyway. It'll make McCullum happy.
That was the vampire I saw earlier. This war takes no prisoners.
Step away, sir. Set go back home. I'll send you back in a fucking grave. Filthy fucking... I'll send you to hell.
The West End. Never have I felt so sad to be back home.
Burn it, boys!
I cannot enter. This is despicable.
Are you from Ascalon? I don't care!
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. Do you need help, sir?
I think I'm fine. But what happened to my jailer? Be careful. He's as vicious as he is strong.
You don't have to worry about him anymore. What happened here?
I am Tadao Kimura. I was imprisoned by this lunatic for several days. I thought I was going to die here.
You're not going to die now, Mr. Kimura. If you hurry, you should be able to get home safely.
It seems that I owe you my life. You have all my gratitude, Dr. Reed, since it is the most precious thing I possess.
Goodbye, Mr. Kimura. Take care. Mother, good evening.
Jonathan! Is it you? Where have you been, my prodigal son?
I'm right here, Mother. I'm finally home.
Yes, for this son of mine was dead and is alive again. He was lost and now found. But where is your sister? Where is Mary?
Mary? She is gone, Mother.
I know she's gone. The question is, when will she return as you have? I miss my grandson so much. It's been days since their last visit.
Mother, do you know what's been going on in this area?
Not really. I don't go out much due to the epidemic, and when I do, I tend to get lost.
What do you mean you get lost? I hope you don't go outside alone.
Of course not. When I go out, your father always comes with me, but he leaves me there sometimes, and I have trouble finding the way back.
Have you returned to Whitechapel Cemetery since Mary's funeral?
I never want to go back to that awful place. Wait. I think I went back once. And you were there too. And Mary? No. That can't be true.
It was just a bad dream, Mother.
A nightmare, yes. Mary was so angry. I walked back home alone. If that kind policeman had not called Avery from the station, I don't know what would have happened.
Do you need anything, Mother? Can I help you?
I just want you to stay with me, Jonathan. Your room is ready. I asked Avery to make your bed.
I'll stay as long as I can, I promise. Do you need anything else?
Just one thing. Stop staring at me like that. As much as I love you, it breaks my heart to look at those empty and dead eyes.
Are you working on a new painting?
Not recently. I have trouble focusing on my subject, and my mind quickly drifts. It's the same thing when I try to write poetry.
I recently met a talented painter with an excellent technique. I wish you two could meet. I'm sure you'd like her.
I'd be glad to meet her. What is her name? Is she famous? Is she dead too?
She's not famous, and her name is of no importance. And yes, she is also dead.
The important thing is, I hope you two get along. If she ever fancies meeting your mother, I'd be glad to welcome her into my home.
Why do you say Mary is visiting you, Mother? You know that's impossible.
Why should it be? Are you not standing in front of me right now? Why should it be any different with your sister?
But Mary really is dead, Mother.
Yes. And are you not dead too? Isn't your father dead? And my grandson, and my son-in-law? You're all gone. But you all still visit me from time to time.
But I'm not dead, Mother. I'm really here, talking to you, trying not to cry.
Oh, it breaks my heart to have to tell you this. But of course you're dead, my darling boy. Just look at you, as pale as my Mary.
Goodbye, Mother. Try to rest now.
Goodbye, son. Please come back soon. Jonathan,
It's locked, all right.
I feel like reading.
Good evening, Avery.
Mr. Jonathan? I can't believe my own eyes. Oh, it's a miracle. We all thought you were... Oh, sir, your poor sister. What a tragedy.
I know, Avery. I know about my sister's murder.
Miss Reed expected you to return to assist with the funeral, right up until the last minute. Where have you been, Mr. Jonathan? We needed you here.
How is my mother?
Not well, I'm afraid, sir. Miss Reed is very fragile since the police brought her back home.
The police? What happened?
Miss Reed was found walking in the streets. She kept saying she had spoken with her son and daughter. She's resting now.
Has she received appropriate medical care?
I'm taking care of Miss Reed myself. Hospitals are so overwhelmed by the epidemic that they can only accept patients infected by influenza.
Perhaps we could arrange a short trip. Somewhere sunny, like France. She has always been very fond of France. I think leaving London could do her good.
I'm afraid Miss Reed is too frail for the moment. Recently, she started going out at night without remembering it. I have to watch her carefully.
What is the situation in this part of town?
For a time, the West End seemed spared by the epidemic. But the situation is getting much worse.
Have you no relatives anywhere? I'll understand if you want to take a few days to see family.
Your father managed to guarantee my earnings as long as I take care of this house, sir. My sisters are dead, and I've never met my nephews. I'll stay, sir.
I'm sorry I could not be here for Mary's funeral.
Your mother was strong, sir, but your support would have been appreciated. Apart from the priest and I, no one else attended your sister's funeral.
To be present at the funeral with you both was my dearest wish, Avery. But I am sorry, I simply could not attend.
I would not dare to question your absence, Mr. Jonathan. All I can say is that we missed you a great deal during these difficult days.
Tell me the truth, Avery. Do you feel forced to stay here? Would you leave this house without the arrangement made by my father?
No, sir. I have nowhere else to go. And I promised your father I'd take care of his family as long as I lived.
This house is dead, Avery. There is a curse on this family. You really should consider leaving.
If only you could have been here sooner or more often. Maybe this house would not be that empty. But you're here now, sir, so my task is not over.
Considering the recent tragedies in this family, I'd understand if you want to leave or decide to serve another house.
Then I will stay. All I ask is that you take care of my own funeral if I die before the end of the epidemic. No mass grave, please, sir.
think I don't take enough care of my mother, Avery?
Yes, I do, Mr. Jonathan.
You clearly have something more to say. Speak your mind, Avery.
I know you work hard to help the sick, but what will you do once the epidemic is over?
I really don't know. I have always enjoyed seeing new horizons. Once the epidemic is over, it would be nice to leave London for a while.
I understand, Mr. Jonathan. But you have to realize that your mother needs you. Your next departure could break her heart.
Goodbye, Avery. Please watch over my mother until I return.
Of course, Mr. Jonathan. But please return as soon as possible.
The Ascalon Club. The heart of British vampire society. Not quite as subtle as I expected.
Whether you need to buy something or not, I am happy to help.
Good evening, sir. Please forgive me for disturbing you. I'm a doctor.
I never judge a man by his title, but by his attitude. And you are not disturbing me at all. I am Calhoun Russell, and I welcome you.
Well, I must admit it's good to receive a warm welcome for once. I'm Jonathan Reed.
Welcome, Dr. Reed. Welcome to my humble shop.
How is the situation in this part of town?
Life is good and peaceful. We're lucky to live in such an era of progress and wonders.
Are you not concerned about the epidemic?
Oh, I'm sure the authorities would take the appropriate measure if the danger were that high.
You cannot expect the newspapers to expose the truth while the war is still raging. I can assure you that the situation here is desperate.
Well, that's news then. But I can't believe that things are that bad. Are you sure you're not exaggerating a bit? For the thrill of it?
What can you tell me about this place?
I recently found the best steak and kidney pie in the city. I'd be glad to share the address if you want.
Finding a good restaurant? Is that really all that interests you?
Oh, I have many passions, but nothing brings me ecstasy like subtle and exquisite flavors from my teeth to my belly.
I must confess, I have quite specific tastes when it comes to nutrition.
Really? Well, I'm always happy to try new exotic meals. If you ever find an intriguing table, please share the address.
Is it not a little too late to be trading?
On the contrary, it is the perfect hour. Believe me, my friend, it is always at night that you meet the most fascinating characters.
But what about the epidemic? The bombs and raids? And all the random violence?
Please, sir, this is London, England. We will prevail. And if a bomb must fall on my shop, then I'll be there to hear it falling.
So you prefer to work at night?
Oh, I also enjoy a sunny day like everybody else. But the night always has a certain je ne sais quoi of its own.
Do you have any family nearby?
Not since my parents died. I'm London's lone gourmet.
Really? But you seem to be such a pleasant and sociable fellow.
I'm afraid the real hedonist has to be sometimes. I discovered ecstasy as a solitary pleasure, but it does not mean it can't ever be shared.
London's lone gourmet. What a strange title.
I used that name in my early years when I was a food critic, and I kept it.
I may have a look at your goods, Mr. Russell.
Remember, don't let any strangers come into your house.
Good evening, sir. May I have your attention, please?
Come on, Johnny. Don't you recognize your oldest friend?
Clarence. Clarence Crossley. How are you? My God. So you survived the war too. So sorry I didn't recognize you at first.
I almost didn't recognize you either. War does that to men, I heard. In my case, it was true, for I witnessed the horror that lies underneath.
When did you escape the war and return to London?
You know what's funny? I almost never think about the war. Not anymore. I'm involved in another kind of battle now.
I know what you mean. I haven't had much time to think about the war either since my return.
Of course. With the epidemic, I bet you've been busy as well. Forgive me, Johnny, I didn't want to sound selfish.
What is this new battle?
I saw terrible things during the war. Horrors I thought I'd forget. They're here too. They're everywhere. Vampires.
How is your wife, Venus?
We've spent so much time away from each other. And so many things have happened.
But you're alive. You returned in one piece and you have a family. How many soldiers can say the same?
Believe me, it's not quite that simple. Unlike you, I'm not the man I used to be.
Is everything all right at home? Surely Venus was relieved to see you return from France in one piece.
Have you forgot what people are like in this part of town, Johnny? Venus fears for our family reputation. Now her husband has become the village idiot.
You need some rest, Clarence. You should try to sleep. Good evening, old chap.
I won't...
Good evening, miss.
Oh my God, no. Please, Mr. Vampire, don't kill me. Please, no. I'm too young to die. I still have so much to offer this world.
Wait, no. Why do you think I would... What?
Don't worry, Dr. Reed. I know you wouldn't harm me. Mother told me you were in this part of town and might drop by.
Your mother?
My name is Charlotte, sir. Charlotte Ashbury. My mother taught me long ago how to recognize the signs that betray a vampire.
I understand she also taught you how to tease and gently mock innocent young Econs. It's a pleasure to meet you, Miss Charlotte. What do you think about this part of town?
I was raised here, and I suppose it feels like home. You grew up in this part of town too, did you not?
Yes, I was born a few streets away.
A small world, is it not? Did you ever imagine that my mother was your neighbor all that time? That you could have met her in a dark alley at night?
You won't trick me twice, young lady. We both know Lady Ashbury never hunts or attacks prey at random.
Come on, Doctor. Don't tell me you never thought about that possibility. Her fangs on your neck. Oh, are you blushing, Dr. Reed?
Is there something that's bothering you?
Too much selfishness and individualism for my taste. Even when there was no epidemic.
Even if that's partly true, may I remind you that many charitable institutions are financed by the selfish and filthy rich.
I suppose you're right. But society must reform and renew itself, or we are all done for.
What are you doing out here?
You mean, what do I do outside at night since I am a woman? Let me ask you a question, sir. Would you ask the same question of a man?
Actually, yes. I ask the same question to everyone who dares to go outside at night, considering the risks.
Well, if you must know, I campaign for the right to vote for all women. Why should I wait to the age of 30 years when men can vote at 21?
Are you a suffragette, then? Oh, you really are Elizabeth's girl. Without a doubt.
All adult women have the right to vote in the US, in New Zealand, and in Australia. But women here can't vote unless they are property owners.
No need to convince me, Miss Charlotte. I have shared your opinion for a long time. Even before I met Emmeline Pankhurst.
Really? Oh. Now I see why my mother appreciates you so much. Too bad there aren't more men like you in the vicinity.
How are the locals reacting to your claims?
People here can't wait for a wall to be built to isolate the West End from the rest of town. That's how progressive they are. If this happens, Emily and I will blow it up.
Explosives are very dangerous, young lady. And who is this Emily?
She is my best friend, and a suffragette too. She was supposed to campaign with me tonight, but hasn't turned up.
Have you any reason to be worried about her?
Recently, Emily started to believe in... well, she got interested in vampires. I'm afraid she might be in trouble.
Let me guess. You spoke to her about us, didn't you? Despite your mother's warning. I think I should try to find your friend.
Oh, that would be top-notch. I can tell you where she might have gone. You have my thanks, Dr. Reed. And please, don't tell my mother.
Tell me about your adoption.
What do you want to know?
Who are your real parents?
Elizabeth Ashbury is my real mother. She raised me and has taken care of me all my life. I have no idea who my progenitors are or were.
Do you live with her?
I still spend a lot of time in my mother's mansion, but I have my own house now. I have a life to live, you see. And one day, I'll have my death to face.
How did you meet Lady Ashbury?
First, I was an orphan in the institution for girls she manages in the West End. When I was 10, she adopted me, and I have lived with her ever since.
Did you know she was a vampire when she picked you?
The correct word is Ekon, Doctor. And no, I had no idea why my mother only showed up at night. She told me everything when I turned 16, though I suspected the truth for a long time before that.
What exactly has your mother told you about me?
Your name and profession, obviously, and the mystery about your maker. I'm sorry to hear about what happened to your sister, sir. Mother says it was not your fault.
Does it not scare you to know what I am? What your mother is?
Why should it? My mother is the most compassionate woman. Must I be wary of her, Dr. Reed? Or you?
Perhaps it's wise for a mortal never to totally trust a vampire. Your mother herself told me that we Ekon are creatures of deception. Maybe it's because we seem so... alive.
That may be true for a naive girl, but I have the best teacher when it comes to getting rid of an insistent immortal.
Your mother is not like any other vampire I've met.
I believe she thinks the same about you, Dr. Reed.
Do you know why Lady Ashbury chose you to become her daughter?
No, I don't. Each time I ask her that question, she smiles and says it's precisely because I dare to ask such questions.
Do you ever regret that she chose you?
Of course not. Though I often wonder if she adopted others before me. If so, where are they buried? How is it for them to pass through life with a never-aging mother?
Goodbye, Charlotte. Give my best regards to your mother when you see her.
She's been quite busy these last few nights. I suspect you may see her before me.
Do you know where you are standing right now?
In front of the Ascalon Club, I presume.
The Ascalon Club only summons or ostracizes. What is your business tonight?
I received an invitation. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed.
Welcome to the Ascalon Club, then, Dr. Reed. Please proceed. Lord Redgrave is waiting on you upstairs. Welcome to the Ascalon Club.
There has been quite a battle here. I'm sure the Ascalon Club has the money to replace the furniture. I cannot enter.
Good evening. We repel the intruders for now.
My good friends, if I may have your attention. Behold our visitor, the good Dr. Reed. Newborn of blood so pure and strong that even my friend Fergal Bancher was no match for him.
Here, here, here!
Come forward, young Ekon, for we have so much to discuss. Welcome to the Ascalon Club, Dr. Reed. I am Lord Redgrave, Earl of Bristol and chairman of this exclusive association.
Lord Redgrave.
At last we meet. I've been eager to make your acquaintance. I've heard some astounding things about you. Please accept my condolences for your loss, Dr. Reed.
Thank you, my lord. Lady Ashbury expressed your wish to meet me.
Yes. The lady has always been a useful acquaintance, though not always reliable. Is she a good friend of yours?
She has proved to be helpful on many occasions.
The centuries have taught me never to trust a woman completely, especially if she is immortal. Too prone to emotions, if you ask me. Too fickle when it comes to important decisions.
My lord, do not expect me to speak ill of Lady Ashbury.
Of course not, and I praise your loyalty. Would you offer the same fidelity to the Empire?
What do you mean?
I speak of the Skull Plague that threatens London and the country. You have been on the front line in the East End, but the time has come to open up a second front here.
The epidemic has escaped the quarantine. You have new cases of the outbreak.
We don't know for certain, but we cannot allow the disease to threaten the prominent heads of Great Britain.
Why are you suddenly so friendly? The last time I met one of yours, he tried to kill me.
Are you referring to Fergal? He was the most useful of servants, but he was just a servant. You, on the other hand, Doctor, proved yourself much more worthy.
You want me to find possible sources of the outbreak in the West End? Is that it?
Ah, straight to the point, like all eager newborns. We shall have time to talk about all this, Dr. Reed, but first, I should like to get to know you better.
Talk? Is that the only reason you asked me here?
Well, no. I also wanted to meet the intriguing Ekon, who made such a powerful progeny of his sister. You have not learned the name of your maker, am I correct?
No, I haven't.
Have no embarrassment, Dr. Reed. We all make mistakes. But whatever your lineage, you are definitely Ascalon material.
What do you mean?
I would like you to become a member of the Ascalon Club, and to serve me as such.
Before I accept, I have so many questions.
Please ask.
What does it mean to be a member of the Ascalon Club?
It means that you swear to protect the interests of the Crown, that you become a loyal servant of the British Empire.
Do you have any official recognition from the government? A charter from His Majesty the King?
No. Of course, the Ascalon Club publicly supports the Empire, but the true nature of its members remains a secret.
Am I supposed to follow orders?
As founder and chairman of the club, I alone am entitled to make demands of our members, and I do appreciate obedience.
What is the Ascalon Club's express purpose?
We follow the credo of William Marshall, the greatest knight who ever lived. As was he, we are sworn to protect the British Empire.
What does Ascalon mean?
Ascalon was the lance wielded by St. George, glorious patron saint of England when he slew the dragon. And like that lance, we pierce the hearts of all our nation's enemies.
William Marshall founded the Ascalon Club.
Not exactly. William Marshall granted me immortality, and I founded the club a few years later. The good knight has been gone for so long.
I killed Fergal, who claimed to be one of yours, sent to cleanse the East End of all skulls. Will his death be an issue?
Do not worry. My priorities have changed. Fergal was a zealous servant of mine, but like any servant, he had his limitations and is readily replaced if necessary.
I agree to join the club.
This is good news. Good news indeed in these crucial times. Let's inform the Assembly formally and proceed with your initiation.
My initiation?
Fear not. Nothing fancy nor dangerous. It is just that we, the members of Ascalon, believe that tradition and custom are the backbone of this country. My fellow members, dear friends, please gather and welcome this Ekon as one of our own.
Is he worthy? Is his blood pure?
Well, speak, Dr. Reed, in front of the most sacred blood. The blood of our beloved William Marshall, speak now. Will you serve and protect the crown as he did?
Yes, I will.
Then, young Ekon, it is time to testify with your blood. It is time to sign the Book of Allegiance. I know it's awfully gothic and a tad pedantic, but England's traditions are the backbone of our nation. Delightful. Welcome to the Ascalon Club, Dr. Reed. Take your place among the bearers of the lance.
One of us! One of us!
I personally went patrolling last night in the West End, and I spotted at least 2 foreign Ekons. This is an outrage. We shall chase these
Good
intruders
evening,
down.
Dr. Reed. How does it feel to be this evening's centerpiece? Figuratively.
I feel perfectly fine. Do I have cause for concern?
Do not be alarmed. The Ascalon Club has a tried and tested policy for choosing its initiates.
May I ask who you are, sir?
Why would you be interested?
Well, as you seem to be the only man in the room with a beating heart, you draw quite a bit of attention yourself.
Ah, vampire senses never cease to fascinate me. They dwarf those of mere mortals. I am Aloysius Dawson, by the way.
Are you a member of the club?
Yes, I am. And I have been for many years. And will be until the day I die.
What can you tell me about it?
It's not really my place to give you such information. I am merely a mortal member, and a dying one at that.
Are you sick?
Personally, I consider my advancing years are a sickness in itself. My body is slowly abandoning me, Dr. Reed.
Are you not afraid? You are surrounded by vampires.
Sir, it's for that very reason that I joined the club in the first place.
Is not the nature of this club a secret, shared by only a privileged few?
My dear Dr. Reed, I have spent years and a fortune precisely to gather that kind of information.
So you asked for membership?
I have been a member of many clubs in many countries. But I must admit, this one is my favorite.
What can you tell me about Lord Redgrave?
I would not dare speak of our chairman without his consent.
Mr. Dawson, of Dawson and Dawson, the wealthiest man in England. It is a pleasure to meet such a prominent figure of London.
A withering London figurehead, to be precise.
Are you sick, Mr. Dawson? I am a doctor, you know.
My case is beyond the scope of traditional medicine. I have spent fortunes on the world's most competent doctors to arrive at that diagnostic conclusion.
I'm sorry to hear that, sir. Should I suppose that you're here in search of some form of immortality?
Absolutely not. I'm here to implement my plan to save the city I was born in. To cast out the ghastly evil that has us all on our knees.
What do you know about the Guard of Priwen?
I should not say this, but I admire their commitment. This is what the nation needs right now.
But they are our enemies.
They are not mine, Dr. Reed.
Would you help them?
No. There is a time for such methods. But brute force will not be enough to fight this plague. We have to think differently.
What is the situation like in this part of town?
I am sure Lord Redgrave will enlighten you more effectively than I.
Money cannot solve every problem. This mysterious epidemic is going to require more than money can buy.
You're right. Money is nothing unless one has the will to wield it. I have a plan, sir. A radical one that will save all that is essential in London.
What is your plan, then?
Quarantine and barricades are futile. What we need is a wall. A formidable, unscalable wall to isolate the deserving from the infected masses.
By doing so, you would create two separate ghettos. What if the disease gets past the wall? The results would be disastrous.
Not if we eliminate all suspected cases of infection as soon as they appear. A necessary sacrifice.
Are you not mistaking sacrifice for summary execution?
Why do you care? Are you not a vampire? Removed from all mortal concerns? Decisiveness is what the city needs, and it needs it now.
I must admit the Guard of Prewen impressed me. They must have spent years preparing their plan.
That went well, did it not? It is always useful to bolster the troops' morale, especially before a difficult battle.
You have the makings of a general, my lord.
I was, though very long ago. Well, not quite a general, but a proud defender of the crown.
So why did you really want to meet me?
Straight to the point again, young Ekon. All right, let's talk, you and I, Lance Sparrow.
I'm listening, my lord.
According to my spies, you have worked with Dr. Edgar Swansea on the epidemic, and your findings were quite alarming.
Do you know Edgar Swansea?
Not personally, but I've been told he has some sort of immortal fetish and is a good friend of yours.
Does it bother you that I consider him my good friend?
As long as you reveal nothing of the club's inner workings, why should I forbid you engaging in conversation with the good Dr. Swansea?
Do you know you were spying on me?
Not personally. I rarely leave this building. But once he found you, Fergal kept me informed. Until you put an end to his mission.
Who was Fergal? I don't see him sipping tea with the others in the club.
Fergal Banshire was my squire of sorts. Even before becoming that magnificent beast, he was a brute. He served me well for decades.
No, I mean, what was he? He was clearly no ordinary vampire.
No, he was a Volcod, all muscles and instinct. Quite the rare breed, ferociously territorial. Mortals often mistake them for werewolves.
You do know I killed him?
Yes.
Will you bear ill will towards me for his death?
Of course not. Your victory was quite impressive and courageous. You earned my respect.
Yes, I'm convinced the recent invasion of frenzied Skulls in London is directly linked to the epidemic. This is not the Spanish flu, but something else.
I would be glad to hear more of your discoveries, Dr. Reed, but for now, my main concern is the security of London's inhabitants, both mortal and immortal.
What do you mean?
Alarmed by the epidemic, the Guard of Prewen has started a war against us British vampires. To appease the situation, we must eradicate the Skulls.
Skulls are hostile vectors of contagion, that is a fact. But first and foremost, they are victims.
I agree, Dr. Reed. Most of the new Skulls who roam the streets at night used to be good British citizens, but they must be put down nevertheless.
So, what do you want me to do?
I want you to investigate the city thoroughly. I have reason to fear there are cases of contagion in this part of town. Our absolute priority is to find and cleanse them.
And how would you like me to proceed?
By all means necessary, Dr. Reed. You are now a member of the Ascalon Club, and you have carte blanche. Interrogate the locals, follow all the leads you find, and get results.
Welcome to the Ascalon Club, then, Dr. Reed.
I think Lord Redgrave just suggested I was sired by an ancient vampire.